Can you believe that they recently just changed the title to the Avengers 5 movie, which was supposed to be Kang Dynasty?
I saw that. I saw that. I'm really really freaking interested in what they're gonna do now.
So like I know that everyone on the internet, like my whole Twitter feed is like filled with like Doctor Doom time, Doctor Doom time, Doctor Doom time. Like, how do you feel about Doctor Doom? Like,
I think that if they do it right, it just depends if they do it right. If it's the right, they do the right story and they introduce him the right way, then I don't mind it. But they just got to do it the right way.
I see what you mean. Like, because it's gonna be hard to transition from where they're at right now with Kang, and then trying to transition to a new villain to be the new big bad for the next movies. So
Exactly.
like essentially for them to even tell that story, it would have to be like kind of like interlocking a season three of Loki and just basically saying like, all right, we already hunted down all the Kang variants and then we're done with him.
Yeah, that could be a possibility. I just feel like depending on how they go about it, they're gonna have to. I think that one of the best things they could do is tie it with the Fantastic Four a lot more now.
Yeah, which will also be kind of hard because they still haven't even gotten Mr. Fantastic.
Exactly, they don't. And but what I'm trying to get at is that I feel like the Fantastic Four were gonna be introduced because of the relationship of Richard
And
and
Kang.
Kang, and then now that they're going away from that, we don't know if they're going away from that, but if they do, it's like, okay, so how are they gonna then like introduce Doctor Doom, introduce Fantastic Four? Like how are they gonna do this?
I think they're gonna have to go like hard on the paint when it comes to introducing Doctor Doom, but basically bring him in Armor Wars and kind of making him like a big bad in that, and then kind of like positioning him into like the universe as like somebody that's still not done and giving him a little bit more screen time to kind of like let people understand who Doctor Doom is.
Right.
So essentially, like if we were to see him again in like Armor Wars, and then after that we see him in possibly Spider-Man 4, like he just appears. He's not like a huge like
No, no, I
he's
know, I
not
know, I
like
know, I know, I know.
he's not like a huge thing where it's going to be filled with villains, but more of like he appears in Spider-Man 4 and
Right,
kind of like says like, "Oh, it's time for me to take over."
right.
You know,
So, in my opinion, I don't think how you said big bad in Armor Wars. I will have him more as a behind the scenes type of villain in that, so we don't see too much of him.
the more of like he's the one in control, similar to what they did with Hawkeye,
Yeah,
where basically they basically insinuated that Kingpin was the big bad the whole time throughout the movie, the episode or the
mhm.
show, really.
Yeah, basically, like he's the puppet master. He's the one pulling the strings or something. Because I don't want them to go through what they went through with Kang. I feel like Kang was introduced way too fucking fast in Ant Man. It was, that I feel like that's what left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth.
But I mean, on top of that, he was introduced pretty fast in Loki as well. Like he was
Well,
the final person
right,
that appeared in Loki as well. But at the same time, it was kind of like the original plans for him was supposed to be he was supposed to be a Loki variant until
right,
they were like, man, we really like how this guy acted. Let's make
right.
him into King.
But I feel like the way they did it in Loki, it was all right because it was a different variant, and I'm like, okay, now we see him this and that. Okay, they killed him, season one. Um, let's just keep it. I don't know. I just feel like from there they jumped to Ant Man, Quantumania, and they just made him a big bad like that fast instead of just keep having him in the like kind of like in the background. And
But I
then they
think also But also, I think for their defense in that part is the fact that Kang is considered also like a big villain in the
right,
universe. So I think they went that route mainly because of the fact that all right, we don't have any other products that we can actually introduce Kang a different way other than Ant Man. So it kind of made sense in their aspect to do that, unless they would have introduced him at the end of Endgame and he disappeared. Like, hey, by the way, I'm King.
Hey,
What's
I'm
up?
here.
I'm a
I,
villain. Hey guys, nice to meet you.
I don't know. Like, I feel like if they would have, okay, if they, okay, they went that route with Ant-Man, then they just should have never killed him off the way they did in Ant-Man. They should have left it where like maybe he escaped, maybe this and that, and now it's like, oh, he's out there still. Like, what the hell is gonna happen? Even though you have the all the other variants, but just having the way he got defeated in Ant-Man, it was just so
Anticlimactic.
exactly, and that's what I'm scared of with Doctor Doom if that's the route they're going. So like, just keep him off screen, like give him like little time in on the screen, like show him here, show him there, but don't make him the big bad from the jump in whatever project he comes out in.
I can see, I can understand what you're coming from there because it basically will still give him more like that menacing feel, not somebody
Exactly,
that could be so easily defeated by. I wouldn't call Ant Man a B list hero, but the way the MCU kind of like shows him off is more of like a B list
exactly,
hero.
exactly. And if you think about it, Thanos, he wasn't. We kept seeing him, in post credit scenes and all these other things, but we never fully got Thanos until like what, Infinity War.
Well, well, basically for him to do anything, yeah, it was Infinity War. But like when he
He's
made like his full screen appearance as Josh Brolin's character of
Yeah,
Thanos was with Guardians 4, Guardians 1.
yeah, but it wasn't really
Like he
anything
wasn't
big,
fighting or anything. Yeah,
right? And then we saw him at the end of
Ragnarok.
Ragnarok. Doing it small things like that. That's, I feel like, the best way they can go about with Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they didn't do that with Kang, and they should have.
So you're leaning more towards them changing up the story altogether and making it into Doctor Doom being the big bad, or would you rather see a Kang be recasted and have a different actor?
The thing with that is that with Kang, there's not a lot of actors out there that I feel that can fill his shoes, that Jonathan Major's shoes on what he did, and make it still feel the same way. There's a few actors, but since now, see, like that's what I was thinking. I'm like, just recast him. But do you think that the character left a bad taste now in people's mouth, knowing that every time that the new Kang will come out, like the new actor, like they'll be like, remember what Jonathan Majors did and this and that and that. So I don't know, even if it's, I don't want to even get into details on that side of Jonathan Majors, but I do feel like people are gonna start like thinking about that.
Thinking that, oh, it's laced with this character already. Like we already know that Jonathan Major played this character. We know that we're gonna hate this character
Yeah.
even if a new actor fills the shoes.
And then the fact that now Marvel, there's reports that they changed the name from Kang Dynasty to Avengers 5, like we said earlier in the video, then that all makes me think like, okay, they're going a different route. But I would have liked to see a recast, but I don't think that's the route they're going with now.
Because I mean, like, think about it. Who else can fill that shoe? There's really nobody out there other than like maybe a handful of people, and then some of them even have to like really bulk up in order to be able to take over. Like I know you mentioned earlier, you did try to look for like actors that you would believe be able to take over the mantle.
Yeah, I did, and I mentioned I don't even know how to say his name. I don't want to butch it. But it's Yaya Abdul Mateen. Is that how you say, or Aya? Yaya?
Let's see.
Black
I have
Manta.
his.
If anybody is wondering what the fuck I'm saying, Black Manta. Uh Also, he was in Candyman, Matrix, the new Matrix movie.
And he's supposed to be Wonder Man as well.
Exactly. That's the only issue that I have with that. I'm like, okay, I can see him playing a Kang. If they did a recasting, um, not only that, I mean his body type and everything fucking fits fine. Like, because there's some other people, but they're like like they're too small, or and I'm like, yo, like him physically, I can see it too. But like you said, he's already casted as Wonder Man.
But it also depends if Kevin Feige is really going to axe the the story of Wonder Man because he is acting a lot of stories. So we never know if that's one of the projects that may be canceled as well.
It could be, but that's one of my picks to be honest, because I can see it.
I
I can
know,
see it.
I know that one of my picks is actually Damson Idris.
Right.
Like to
Yes.
me, he's one of my top picks as well.
The only thing with him is that he'll have to bulk up to the
Bulk up.
max. Like,
Unless they use like a lot of muscle suits on him. But I know Marvel takes their characters super seriously to the point where they kind of force some of these actors to work out
oh
properly.
yeah, give him 8 months. He'll be right. He'll be fucking buff like a motherfucker. There's no doubt about that.
Definitely. And
Um,
I think the other person would be Denzel Washington's son as well.
I thought about that, but the thing is, like, I don't know why every time I see his face, I always see him so like smiley, like, like so happy and joyful, and I'm like, could he do a menacing role?
I believe he can because if you have ever watched Tenet, he did
Yeah,
have not. It wasn't menacing, but it was more
right.
of like he was more serious throughout that whole role.
Because
But I know he played the actor in Black Klansman as well, where he kind of played that jokester, but I was trying to get
yeah,
into
yeah.
the the Federation.
There's one more. There's one more I want to mention, and it is Aldous Hudge, which is actually the guy that played Hawkman in Black Adam.
I think he'd be an all right replacement as well.
Like acting chops, I don't know, but just like body, like the physic, how his physique, like he's big, so I can see it, but that's just that one's far off. That's like last resort.
I can see what you mean. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't think they're going that route. I think they're really dropping. Do you think they'll just drop it like that, or do you think they'll do it like in another movie or something? They'll bridge everything together, like from Kang going to Doctor Doom.
I think that we possibly might move forward with Doctor Doom, and then I feel like maybe um they're gonna make a thing where they make where Doctor where Kang is basically handled in the back burner, basically. So like maybe they'll do something small where they probably like kill him off or something in another movie or so, or they can even add him into like maybe Deadpool kills the Marvel universe and he's one of the ones that he ends up killing.
Imagine like they show a freaking scene, like a post-credit scene, and it shows that Coliseum they show the Council of Kangs. Like
And
imagine they
Deadpool and
show
they were Wolverine.
bro, they show the Coliseum and all the Kangs are fucking dead. And all you see is Deadpool there and Wolverine like just like like
Is that all of them?
yeah.
Is that all of them?
Um fuck, that would be fucking hilarious that did something like that. But at the same time, I was also thinking, what if they stay away from the whole Kang stuff for now, and maybe they can revisit it a few years later.
I mean, if you think about it too, we are supposed to get a soft reboot of the whole universe. I believe it's after, I think it's Deadpool after Spider Man. Or
Right.
no, after Secret Wars, it's supposed to be a soft reboot.
Because I was thinking, what if they stay away from that character? They don't touch it for a while. The Loki and all of them, they're taking care of like all the other Kang, so you know, so that could be a reason why we don't see him for a while because they're taking care of him, of all of them. And then like maybe after Avengers 5, after that, like another phase comes, it's like, oh, motherfucker came back or something. I don't know. Have to be recasted as well, but I feel like maybe at that point, everybody will feel a little different about him being recasted.
But I think the best way to is like when they introduce the X-Men and possibly in the second X-Men movie, they could do another Apocalypse style movie where they include Apocalypse and then essentially use Ramatut as like someone that appears there and then he got let's say he gets killed by Apocalypse and then they kind of end his whole tyranny there like kind of like they already dealt all the other kings. Ramatut's the only one we haven't touched.
True. Yeah, that could be something. That could be something. But To get away a little bit from Kang, I do want to mention. I want to talk about the Fantastic Four a little bit more
Okay.
because we there's reports now that they haven't been able to, like, nobody wants to take on that role, Mr. Fantastic.
And I mean, I wonder if it has to do with a lot of things going on with the script. Like maybe they don't like how the script is being written. Like I understand that the storyline is going to follow Sue Storm, but I don't think that is a bad thing as well. I think it's maybe that either Mr. Fantastic get killed off to the point where they had to switch to another one.
Okay.
Maybe they're doing a multiversal thing where they're going to have a council of reads, and none of them wants to do that to the point where like we already had two actors already say that they want to get paid more money to play this role.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if maybe like the role isn't that much, or maybe it's a 10-year contract that they don't want to sign in, where they basically for those 10 years they can do any of the movies except for Marvel movies.
So then, when it comes to people like maybe Pedro Pascal or maybe even Adam Driver, which these are people that were in talks with Marvel, those are big names. And we know that they do a lot of different projects every year. So maybe that could come into play why they don't want to take on the role. Because when you're doing a Marvel movie, like you mentioned, you have to give them like 10 fucking years out of your life. And you got to, whenever they call, you got to drop whatever else you're fucking doing and go and do whatever Marvel wants you to do.
Basically, like Marshall Ali, how he's been dealing with this whole Blade movie for now the past 5 years, where he hasn't been able to do anything else except for wait for them to call him to say, "Hey, we're gonna start filming Blade right now."
Yeah, because if you think about it, Adam Driver, he's in a lot of projects. He does a lot of fucking projects. And then you have Pedro Pascal, which, he's in The Last of Us and Mandalorian and all this other stuff. So it's like, you think about it, it's like that could be a possibility.
Definitely, but I think he also has three movies that go into production and a TV show that goes into production in the next month or so. So essentially, he won't have any time to be able to do a Fantastic Four movie to be released in 2025
Right.
by February.
Yeah. Because I see that being more possible than the reason of like, oh, we don't want this role because the Sue Storm is gonna get more. It's gonna be more based on Sue Storm than anything else. I can't really see that though, like them not taking that job because of that.
Yeah, I can't see that either. I know that's what the blame is for a lot of the social media nowadays, where all these different news outlets are saying, "Hey, this is the reason why these people don't want to take the roles." But I don't believe that. I think it's something completely different. I think it really is a 10-year contract that they had to sign to play this, continue playing this character for 10 years straight, and not being able to take any other roles.
Either that or they just don't. They just don't like the what's written. They don't like the story.
So they could be another Henry Cavill thing with the whole Superman, where they kept this man on the line saying like, "Yes, you're Superman," for like 10 years, and then be like, "Nah, we're gonna go a different route." Oh no, wait, you're still Superman. To this be told, nah, you're not Superman no more.
Damn, I don't know if Marvel will ever do something like that. I don't know. That could be a possibility. I don't know though. But what I want to know is there anybody that you could see taking up that role of Mr. Fantastic?
I still believe that some of the good actors that could possibly take that mantle is still Adam Driver, even though he turned it down.
Right.
Um I still think that I know John Krasinski is out as well, but I think he would also be great as well.
By the way, I
Uh,
have now that you're in John Krasinski, has he meant? Do we know what he's directing in Marvel MCU? Because I know he's been in talks about directing a movie, but that's all I know.
Um, I don't think that has been announced yet what he's directing.
Okay, carry on.
Glenn Howerton is another one that's great, the one that plays Dennis in It's Always Sunny. But at the same time, he's already 46 years old, so it'll be kind of hard for him to be this character for the next 10 years.
Right. And that's one of the issues I have with Pedro Pascal too. But that's just me.
Yeah,
Like, I love Pedro. Don't get me wrong. I love Pedro, but like the next 10 to 15 years, I don't know.
I see what you mean.
Because at the
I
same
definitely see
time,
what you mean.
he's at the height of his career. So taking on this role is also going to make him lose a lot of projects that could be better for him.
I agree because like he's someone that we really do need for Mandalorian. He really makes that show drive. We also need him for Last of Us because he makes it drive, even though we already know what's going to happen the next season. But still, like we definitely do need him for other things as well.
Yeah, I
I know
agree.
he's also making Gladiator 2, which is another thing that goes into production next month.
Yep.
So
In my opinion, I went a little crazy with my choices. I went a little crazy because yes, I have Adam Driver in there. I still have Pedro Pascal in there because we know they've been in talks, with Marvel. But I decided to put James McAvoy into the casting. I know he probably wouldn't take it, but looking at what he's done in the past, I'm like, he would be a pretty fucking dope, pretty good Mr. Fantastic.
yeah, I could definitely see that. And then
Like,
if you're thinking about British actors too, David Tennant would have been another one if he didn't play Kilgraves in Jessica Jones or
oh,
Hargraves. Yeah.
true, true, true. He could have been, yeah. But yeah, like I was like looking at him and I'm like, yo, I can see James McAvoy as Mr. Fantastic. But I also threw another one out there that I'm like, yo, like, what if you throw Henry Cavill into that role?
I think he's a little too big to play that character, but I think he'll be fine to play the character too. Like, because I feel like he will do a great job as the character.
And that's what I mean. Like we all know that he does a lot of like he studies his characters so much, and he puts his heart and soul into everything he plays. That he wants to get it as accurate as it is in the books or comics and anything like that. So that's why I went with him. And like I'm like, fuck it, I'll go with a little, buffer than usual Mr. Fantastic. I wouldn't fucking mind that.
Yeah, I could definitely see what you're coming
And
from
then
there.
I also put them the reason I've been picking these people is like I'm also looking at who's playing Sue Storm, and I'm like, do they look good together? I'm also doing that. I'm like, do they look like they match?
Yeah, and they technically did work together already.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they probably have that chemistry as it is in the movies.
Yes, sir. Guys, I think that's it. That's about it. That's about all we have for today.
Oh, it was nice talking to you guys. Hope you like and subscribe. And hit the little bell so there's notification. Get that ring a ding, like ding a ding bell.
And if you guys have any theories and speculations, yo, comment down below. Let us know. We can talk about it. We can get your comments and just have a whole ass conversation about what you guys wrote.
For sure.
Till next time. See you geeks later. I don't know. You told me like the video was almost up, so
Yeah,